Everyone remembers the summer when the Premier League went crazy for strikers, with big names, huge money, and impossible expectations everywhere. After winning the Premier League in 2025, Liverpool went straight into the market, lifting the trophy and then dominating the transfer headlines as they spent over £450 million in a single window. They paid £125 million for one of the best strikers in the world and another £116 million to bring in Florian Wirtz in what was supposed to be the window that defined a brand new era at the club. But while everyone was focused on the glamour signings and flashing cameras, one move quietly slipped under the radar. It was a former Eintracht Frankfurt forward, signed without hype, noise, or expectations. A striker Liverpool never planned to build around, a deal used mainly to apply pressure elsewhere, costing £69 million and almost treated as an afterthought. Months later, everything changed. That so-called backup plan didn't just earn minutes, it earned trust, then a starting spot. And now he's keeping one of the most dangerous strikers in the world on the bench. This isn't luck or coincidence. It's the story of how Hugo Ekitike quietly took over the Premier League. Last summer, the Premier League collectively panicked and decided that every problem could be solved by buying a striker. You couldn't scroll through transfer news without seeing another number 9 linked to a big move. Newcastle went shopping in the Bundesliga and brought in Walter Maid. Arsenal made their statement signing with Gyökeres, a striker they believed could turn them from almost winners into champions. Manchester United followed the same logic with Šeško, betting on raw power, potential, and long-term development. Chelsea, being Chelsea, didn't even stop at one striker. They signed both João Pedro and Liam Delap, doubling down on youth and volume. Every one of those deals came with noise, endless debates, highlight reels, and expectations that these players would instantly transform their teams. Strikers were treated as the final missing puzzle piece, and clubs paid accordingly. The league spent heavily, and the spotlight stayed firmly fixed on those signings. And then there was Liverpool, the same chaos, the same bidding wars, the same deadline day drama. But all of that attention revolved around Alexander Isak, the striker they chased all summer before finally pulling him away from Newcastle. Almost unnoticed, Liverpool also quietly signed Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt, a move most people saw as nothing more than smart squad depth. Sensible, maybe, useful, but nothing special. At least, that's how it looked from the outside. Because anyone who hadn't followed Frankfurt closely missed what was coming. And to understand why this move mattered far more than anyone realized, you have to go back to the moment Ekitike's career truly restarted. To understand why Frankfurt fans were never surprised by his rise, you have to go back to Paris. His move to PSG was supposed to be the breakthrough, the step where everything finally clicked. Instead, it became a period of stagnation. Minutes were hard to come by, confidence faded, and by the start of the 2023-24 season, he was barely involved. He wasn't just on the bench, he had almost disappeared from the picture. For a young striker, situations like that can be brutal. Doubt creeps in quickly, and careers can derail just as fast. What mattered was how Ekitike responded. He didn't hide from that phase or pretend it never happened. He spoke openly about questioning himself, about how mentally difficult it was, and about the importance of protecting his confidence when everything around him suggested a lack of trust. Instead of forcing his way through a broken situation, he made a clear decision to restart his career somewhere he could actually play, learn, and take responsibility. That choice said everything about his mindset. Frankfurt gave him what PSG couldn't: structure, trust, and a defined role. From the moment he arrived, he wasn't treated like a long-term project parked on the bench. He was given minutes, freedom, and the responsibility to lead the line. Over 18 months, he scored 26 goals in 64 appearances, but more importantly, you could see his game evolve. He wasn't just finishing chances, he was linking play, pressing defenders, and becoming the focal point of Frankfurt's attack. The real breakthrough came in the 2024-25 Bundesliga season. As the central figure in Frankfurt's attack, Ekitike scored 15 league goals and provided 8 assists, driving the team to a third-place finish and Champions League qualification. It was a massive achievement for the club, and he was right at the heart of it. The numbers backed it up, but so did the eye test. He played with a level of confidence, conviction, and consistency that simply hadn't been there before. So, when Liverpool eventually came calling, Frankfurt fans weren't surprised at all. To them, this wasn't a gamble or a lucky bet. It was the natural next step for a striker who had already proven he could carry a team. And that's what made the move to Liverpool so interesting, because even after all that progress, there was still no expectation that he would arrive as the main man. On paper, Ekitike's signing made sense for Liverpool, but it didn't feel like a statement. It felt calculated. A young striker coming off a strong Bundesliga season, still developing, someone expected to fit into the system rather than define it. His Frankfurt form was respected, but there was no real belief that he would immediately lead the line for a club like Liverpool. That perception only grew stronger because Liverpool didn't stop there. As mentioned earlier, they went on to make the move everyone was waiting for. Alexander Isak arrived, bringing with him a completely different level of expectation. This wasn't potential, this was proven Premier League quality. A striker who had already terrorized defenses, delivered elite numbers, and carried responsibility at a demanding club. Overnight, the conversation shifted. Ekitike went from an intriguing signing to a clear second option in most people's minds. The logic was simple. Isak was entering his prime, already adapted to the league and trusted in big moments. Ekitike, despite his progress, was still viewed as someone who would rotate, learn, and wait for opportunities. That wasn't disrespect. It's how football at this level usually works. Big clubs buy stars for the starting 11, and everyone else fights for minutes around them. So the hierarchy at the start of the season felt obvious. Isak was the number one striker. Ekitike was the backup. But football has a way of tearing up hierarchies when performances start to speak. And once the matches began, that expected order didn't last long. Which brings us to the real question. How did Ekitike manage to push Isak out of the starting lineup? To answer that, we first need to take a quick step back and look at Isak's time at Newcastle. Isak's spell at Newcastle perfectly showed what happens when a team has a truly dangerous striker. From the moment he became a regular starter, Newcastle's entire attack revolved around him. Defenders knew exactly where the threat was coming from, but stopping it was another matter entirely. His mix of pace, close control, and composed finishing made him the player opponents had to focus on every single minute he was on the pitch. What set Isak apart wasn't just his ability to score. He carried the ball forward, linked play from deeper areas, and made sharp, intelligent runs that constantly pulled defenders out of position. Teams often doubled up on him, but even then, he found ways to hurt them. Simply by occupying the right spaces, he created room for teammates, and almost every meaningful Newcastle attack flowed through him. When games were tight, he was the player the team relied on to make something happen, and the one fans trusted in the biggest moments. His final season at Newcastle was a clear showcase of just how dominant he had become. He finished the campaign with 27 goals and 6 assists. Remarkable numbers for a team that didn't flood the box the way some traditional Premier League giants do. Every goal carried weight. He displayed composure in one-on-one situations, power when holding off defenders, and intelligent movement inside the penalty area. His assists highlighted another layer of his game, showing he knew exactly when to bring teammates into play rather than just focus on scoring himself. For Newcastle, a player putting up 27 goals and 6 assists completely transformed the team's attack. They weren't just competitive, they became consistently dangerous simply because Isak was on the pitch. A striker like that doesn't just participate, he dominates. And that's why the expectation upon his arrival at Liverpool seemed obvious. Ekitike would step back, bide his time. Yet, as the season unfolded, It became clear things wouldn't follow that predictable path. This season, Ekitike hasn't just played more games than Isak, he's started more matches. He has been in the starting 11 for 11 of Liverpool's 16 Premier League games, while Isak has only started 6. And it's not just about minutes, his performances have been visibly superior. Hugo Ekitike's impact at Liverpool has been one of the few bright spots in an otherwise turbulent campaign. While many assumed he would be used only as a rotation option behind Isak, he has consistently shown that he is more than capable of leading the attack on his own. Across 24 appearances in all competitions, he has already contributed 11 goals and 1 assist. Impressive figures, especially considering he hasn't always played the full 90 minutes and has had to adapt to a new league, a new team, and a very different style of play. What makes Ekitike particularly special isn't just his raw output. Liverpool's season has been defined by moments when they struggled to control games, faced high pressing, dealt with long balls, and were forced into defensive transitions. In these moments, the team needs a striker who can do more than finish chances. They need someone who can hold up the ball, bring teammates into play, and provide a constant passing option. Ekitike has done all of that, and more. He has the physicality to compete with Premier League defenders, but also the composure and technical quality to control the ball under pressure, beat opponents, and immediately create opportunities for himself and others. One of his greatest strengths is his off-the-ball movement. Liverpool's attacking style relies heavily on transitions and exploiting space, and Ekitike is exceptional at anticipating where opportunities will appear. He constantly makes runs into pockets of space, drifts out to the left side of the pitch, and drags centre-backs out of position to create room for others. His timing is precise. He often arrives in free space before anyone else reacts, becoming an immediate outlet as soon as Liverpool regains possession. This kind of anticipation is rare for a player so early in his Premier League career. Technically, Ekitike brings elements to Liverpool's game that had been missing. For a striker of his size, his dribbling and ball control are exceptional. He can beat defenders one-on-one, both centrally and in wider areas, open passing lanes, or create space for runners from midfield. He frequently lays the ball off to teammates, keeping attacks alive even under intense pressure. In the box, his intelligence stands out. He doesn't rely solely on strength or aerial duels. He reads the game, times his runs perfectly, and finds space without forcing it. Perfectly exemplified by his goal against Tottenham, where his delayed run allowed him to exploit the gap between defenders and finish cleanly. Even in matches where Liverpool collectively struggled, Ekitike remained a constant threat. He averages nearly 3 shots per 90 minutes, the highest in the squad, many of them created through his own movement rather than build-up play. He attacks rebounds, positions himself for second balls, and consistently generates danger from transitions. His goal against Brighton sums this up perfectly. He anticipated a turnover, drifted into space, controlled the ball under pressure, and finished calmly in a tight moment. Ultimately, Ekitike's effectiveness comes from how seamlessly he fits into Liverpool's system. The team's style this season relies on rapid transitions, exploiting open spaces, and pressing opponents. Ekitike thrives in all of these scenarios. He can drop deep to link play, hold defenders, and then make timely runs in behind. His presence alone improves Liverpool's attacking structure, even when other players around him aren't at their best. Unlike Isak, Ekitike has shown no adjustment issues. Isak, on the other hand, arrived after a protracted transfer saga and even refused to play during part of it, which left him unfit. He missed the first 4 matches, sitting out a previous suspension, then unable to play due to fitness. Ekitike, by contrast, joined Liverpool earlier, completed the full pre-season, and was fit and ready from day one. At Newcastle, the attack was built around Isak, and he was the dominant focal point. At Liverpool, the situation is completely different. With Mo Salah commanding the spotlight and the system revolving around him, Ekitike had to integrate immediately and accept his role. He was prepared to fit in seamlessly. And so, in a season full of questions for Liverpool, Ekitike has become one of the clearest answers. His goals, his movement, and his technical contributions haven't just justified his signing. They've shown he is capable of competing at the highest level in one of the world's most demanding leagues. And the most exciting part? He hasn't even reached his peak yet, making the next stage of his development at Liverpool all the more compelling. The most exciting part of Hugo Ekitike's season so far is that what we're seeing now is just the beginning of what he can become. Even with 11 goals and 1 assist in 24 appearances, he hasn't reached his true peak. There's a sense that the best version of Ekitike, the one who consistently dominates games and turns Liverpool into a more complete attacking force, is still to come. Right now, his game is built on instinct, confidence, and raw talent. He reads situations well, times his runs intelligently, and knows how to find space in tight areas. But there are areas where experience and maturity will elevate him even further. Decision-making, for example, will improve with time. He already has the ability to create chances and finish in the box. But as he matures, he will know exactly when to shoot, when to lay it off, and how to balance risk and reward in real time. This refinement will make him even more dangerous and consistent in front of goal. Finishing is another area with huge upside. Right now, Ekitike scores spectacular goals and converts big chances. But as his composure and technique develop, his conversion rate could climb even higher. He won't just punish defenders by being in the right place. His finishes under pressure will become clinical. Combined with his already exceptional movement and link-up play, this could make him one of the most complete strikers in the Premier League. Additionally, his understanding of Liverpool's system will continue to grow. He already adapts naturally to the team's high-intensity, transition-based style, but the more he integrates, the better he will master the subtle nuances: when to drop deep, when to press, when to run behind, and how to coordinate instinctively with his teammates. This kind of football intelligence is what separates good strikers from great ones. Right now, Ekitike is very good. In a few seasons, he has the potential to be exceptional. Physically and technically, he's already impressive. Dribbling, ball control, the ability to carry the ball under pressure. But with more experience in timing, anticipation, and reading defenders' movements, he will become even harder to defend. When that happens, Liverpool won't just have a striker who scores and moves well. They'll have a player who can dictate the shape of a game, control the tempo in attack, and consistently create high-quality chances for himself and his teammates. The point is, Ekitike's performances this season are just a glimpse of his potential. The foundation is there: confidence, technical skill, physicality, and intelligence. And refinement will come with experience. When it does, we'll see a player who can do everything Liverpool could ever want from a striker, and the team will reap the rewards of signing someone once underestimated and nearly overlooked. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hugo Ekitike's rise, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next videos. Comment below, do you think Ekitike is Liverpool's number 9 of the future, or will Isak reclaim his spot? We want to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to check out our other videos, including the decline of Ter Stegen and Hoffenheim's incredible season. Your support means everything. Let's keep the football hype alive.